So a little breaking news today. Valve, everyone's favorite Steam developer, well not developer, Steam operator and very occasional game developer, decided to announce today that they're going to be releasing essentially a brand new console. 4K 60 console, Steam machine as they call it. A couple other devices. We may go into that later, but we're going to discuss this Steam machine in detail because I think it's very significant where we are in the gaming space, especially with consoles and primarily when it comes to Xbox and where their whole branding, where their entire line of hardware, not to say that Sony's in a fantastic position, in my opinion, but Xbox as a brand, as a hardware company, it's looking very Dreamcast-like. And I already know if you're going to be in the comment section saying, oh, it's not a console, it's a PC. I know it's a PC, okay? It's clearly a PC, a mini PC, whatever you want to call it. But this is for sure competing with the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5 Pro. From what I've seen, some of the specs, just quick glance, it's a uniquely made AMD GPU processor with FSR. Very important distinction. So they're hoping to hit some of these resolutions and frame rates. Obviously, with the use of FSR 4, I'm hoping. They just said FSR. We're hoping FSR 4. The architecture will be something that we'll have to take a look at. We don't have any information on pricing or tons of other information, but I when I watched the video, I've only watched it once. I probably want to watch a couple more times, but I love tech, and I just think that we're in a very interesting time, and I truly want to hammer home that this is kind of like a console. It's a console, just like how the Steam Deck is a competitor to not only just handheld PCs, but mainly, obviously, the Nintendo Switch, which is a console. It is a handheld, home console hybrid. And the Steam Deck is a competitor to a console, which this is a small PC, but it functions much like a console. And I do think that Microsoft is going to have to take a hard look, especially with all of the price increases that we've seen with both Microsoft and Sony, with how they're manufacturing, the hardware. They have two different or more, in some cases they have more than two different SKUs and different versions of their consoles. But the price increases that we've seen and the features and options that we have on these consoles, which you have to pay for online, some of the proprietary, software and things that you can get with the consoles, aren't exactly, I would call them half-baked, but the PC market has truly become, it's branched out. It's not a niche market anymore. This is not 2002 anymore. The PCs are very mainstream now. And while the Steam machine is definitely a PC and will compete with some lower end or some budget style pre-builds, I would say, or even some budget, budget builds that you would tend to create. The squeeze that consumers have been dealing with for the past, 5 years or so. I mean, obviously during the vid era, the prices of GPUs, CPUs, just components in general have just inflated, and we don't really have an idea of what's coming in 2026. And this is not a PC centric component video, but I do think that Valve sees a lot of opportunity here, and the key component that we don't know anything is about the price. And going back to Microsoft, and I want to specifically discuss Microsoft directly because I do think that they are in a precarious situation. Not that Microsoft's going out of business or they're going to remove themselves from the game industry in the next 5 years. Nothing like that. But like I'd mentioned, the Dreamcast, Sega used to be a powerhouse. Sega was a big time, hardware competitor to Nintendo and Sony, and they've been a software company for quite some time, just developing games. And I don't see Microsoft being able to s- withstand the onslaught from both Sony and from Valve. Nintendo is its own entity. Nintendo's been kind of competing on their own by themselves for quite some time. They're not, Nintendo and Microsoft are not competing against each other. They're in the same space, but it's not. That's not the landscape anymore. With Microsoft, they went to this Xbox PC collaborative environment where you can play all your Xbox games will be available on PC, and it blurred the line between, okay, what do I need an Xbox for? It's like, well, we have Xbox Game Pass. So Xbox Game Pass really became what people attach themselves for Xbox, right? Maybe you have an Xbox that you buy for your kids because it's convenient, it's easy. You pop it in. A PC is a little more confusing, obviously, for maybe a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old to play. But now, you got so many more options. It's not only the big three just making quote unquote consoles and hybrid systems, handhelds and things like that. You've got so much more in the market these days. And Valve, being the reputable company that they are, they've had their ups and downs with some of their products. I do think that this is a interesting and major shakeup to the hardware department of gaming. And it's very exciting to see where it goes. Moving forward, I think the question remains and will remain until we get more information, which I'd like to do a follow-up video because obviously this news just freaking broke on X. So I decided to do a video on it real quick. Valve's really making a lot of moves. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Half-Life 3 is coming anytime soon. Did we really think that would be happening? But I digress. I'm not going to get into it. Yeah, the Steam machine is pretty exciting stuff. I mean, is it something that I would purchase? We really got to know the price. Because right now, as of this recording, I believe the Xbox Series X is sitting at a, quite frankly, wild $650 USD to purchase a console that can do 4K 60 in quotes. If you're playing Hollow Knight Silksong, one of the best games of the year, of course it can do 4K 60. But yeah, that spec or that performance metric is much to be desired for consoles of today, even a Series X or a PS5 Pro. But yeah, we want to know the price. I mean, if Valve can come in with 800, 700, 699 for a Steam highly powered competitive PC that essentially works as a console and has all these features along with the new products that they're releasing. Steam is also releasing a new VR headset along with a new controller that looks pretty interesting. I don't know about those thumb pads. I feel like you might touch those on accident and then have all kinds of issues. But yeah, they're coming out with new products. Hardware is very cool, guys. I think this is what we're going to be seeing from more companies. And I think 2026 is going to be very, very interesting. We do have CES coming very, very soon. So this next year, if we don't get any new GPUs, at the very least, we're getting a new console PC from Valve themselves. So pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, guys, that's about it for the video. Once we have more information, I may do a follow-up, and I may do a follow-up video about the controller specifically. I think that's kind of interesting. But if you did like the video, don't forget to drop a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos just involving everything gaming. Software, hardware, PC, all kinds of things. But thanks for your time, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.